Hello, welcome to the video. Today we're going to be making Nanami's cat hood. If you clicked on this video because you want to crochet this hat, awesome. It's definitely beginner friendly and I'm gonna go really slow, so all I ask is that you do not sell the hats made from this. If you want a hat that's already made, check out my Etsy. I do sell these hats, but this video is mostly for the people who are wanting to make them for loved ones and friends and family, girlfriends, boyfriends. So let's get right into it. Here are the supplies that you're going to need. So first you're going to want a 5mm crochet hook, or also known as an H hook. You're also going to want a 3.5mm hook. This is for the flower on her hat. And then you're going to want one of these crochet needles, and then a pair of scissors. And in order to figure out what size you want of your hat, I recommend having a fabric measuring tape. And this is optional, but a stitch counter. I use this to count my rows. It just keeps everything in track. But if you don't have one, that's fine. So I use Red Heart Super Saver acrylic yarn. You're gonna want medium purple, white, and raspberry for this hat. Alright, so we're gonna start with the base of the hat, the part that goes over your head. So in order to do this, in order to get the right size, I'm gonna throw up these measurements on the screen. You want to take your fabric measuring tape and wrap it around kind of where a brim of a hat would be, you know, your forehead to the back of your head, and wherever your inches fall, that's the size hat that you want to make. I will be making a small. So for a small, you're going to chain 35. For medium, you'll chain 38. And for a large, you'll chain 40. So wherever your inches fall, that's what you're going to start with. And that is really the only difference in sizing. Okay, once you've figured out your measurement, you're going to make a slip knot with the purple yarn and take your 5mm crochet hook, and let's get started. Be sure to keep a good length of excess to thread in at the end. And then go ahead and just put your slip knot on your hook like that. And if you don't know how to make a slip knot, there's like hundreds of videos on how to do it on YouTube. Okay, so with your slip knot, you're going to look at your size and figure out how many chains you're going to do. I'm going to make a small in this one, so I'm going to be chaining 35. So if you don't know what chaining is, you yarn over, pull through your loop, yarn over, pull through the loop. That is chaining. So for me, I'm doing 35 of these. Once you're done making your chained length, just to double check if you are making this hat for you, hold it up and put this side on your ear on the left and this side on the ear on the right, and if they touch your ears, then it fits perfectly. Now I got my 35 chains, and now I'm going to double crochet into the third stitch from my hook. So a double crochet, you want to yarn over, and you have 2 on your hook, so yarn over, and then you insert it, and in this case we're going to insert it into the third loop, so count 3. Insert into the third loop on your chains, yarn over again, pull through, and you should have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over, pull through the second 2 loops, and that is 1 double crochet. So now you're going to do another double crochet into the next stitch, pull over, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the last 2. Now that is 2 double crochets, and you have right here is like the excess, and then you have 2 double crochets. So you're going to double crochet all the way until you get to the end. Now, to make sure you don't have too many or too little on your foundation, you want to count your double crochets as you go. So if you are making a small, you should have 33 double crochets at the end. If you're making a medium, you should have 36 double crochets, and if you're making a large, you should have 38 double crochets. Go ahead and double crochet all the way across and come back. and then you're in the last stitch, your last double crochet. Now at the end, I just like to go count and make sure that I have the right amount I'm supposed to have. 33. Okay, so if you're making a small, you should have 33. If you're making a medium, you should have 36 double crochets, and if you're making a large, you should have 38 double crochets. So now that we are all done with our first round, if you are using a stitch counter, this is your first round done. So now we're going to chain 2, turn our work completely over. Now it should look like this. And then you're going to double crochet all the way across, the same amount of double crochets you have down here. You are going to repeat this double crochet, chain 2, turn, double crochet, chain 2, turn, until you have 28 rows. Do that and then come back to the video. Once you finish your 28 rows, you should have a really long, let me move these. You should have a really long, what looks like a rectangle. And once you are at your 28th row, you should be at your left corner, or I think, yeah, left corner. And instead of chaining 2, you're just going to chain 1. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take this corner, and we're going to take the other corner, and we're going to put them together. Yeah. And then we're going to fold your huge rectangle in half. So it's going to look kind of like this. Your hook should be in this corner. So this is your opening, and then this is where you folded it. And then you have an opening here and an opening here. So what we're going to do is you're going to take this side, and we are going to single crochet both of these sides together. So basically what that means is after you chain 1, you're going to insert your hook into the first part and the second part together, yarn over, pull through. You should have 2 on your hook, and you're going to yarn over, pull through both of those. And now this part, there's not really like an exact way to do it because there aren't stitches for you to go into. So what you're going to want to do is just kind of, when you put your hook through, just make sure it's going through both pieces so you're actually attaching them. But other than that, there's not really like there's not a specific amount of single crochets you need. Basically just keep them close to each other, don't spread out too far, and make sure you're grabbing both pieces as you single crochet. Okay, so you're just going to single crochet across, and then once you get to the end, I'll show you what to do. Okay, so once you place your last single crochet, which should kind of be like in the corner of your project, once you place that, you're going to chain 1, and this just kind of seals it all in. And then you're going to take your pair of scissors, and you want to leave a long enough piece that you can weave in, and you're going to cut it, and then take your hook. Oh no, don't let it slip out. Take your hook and pull until thread goes through, pull tight. Okay, so now you have a square, and this side is sewn together, and if you can kind of see, there's like a seam. So this is going to be the inside of your hat, and then you're going to go to this side, and we're going to sew this side together exactly how we did on this side. Since you don't have yarn already attached here, we're going to have to attach the yarn. So you're going to take purple, and you're going to do a slip knot like this, and slip that through your hook, and then you're going to put your hook in the corner, and then put your hook in the other corner, the other piece, and then you're just gonna pull it through, and you're gonna start your single crochets like you did on the other side. So go ahead and single crochet all the way across, chain 1, and cut off your yarn, and then meet me back here. Okay, so once both of your sides are sewn together, you have a bunch of these like little extra pieces. So before we do the ear flaps, I like to take one of the needles and just weave all the ends in, That way I don't have a bunch of ends while we're working on the ear flaps. So go ahead and weave your ends in and we'll get started on the ear flaps. Okay, so now that you weaved in all of your ends, we're gonna work on the ear flaps. So with that being said, this is your outside seam you just did. We're going to flip the hat correct side out, wrong side in, and kind of, you know, smooth it out. So now this is the hat, this is the part of the hat that everybody will see. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna move it to where you can see the seam that you did. This part's a little tricky, but I'm gonna try my best to explain it. So this is the seam that you just did where the two parts meet. And this is the ear flap, this is the side of the hat. So you're gonna take your purple yarn and you're gonna make a slip knot. And you're gonna take your 5mm hook and go ahead and put that on. So where you attach it really matters. So we're going to go from the center and we're gonna count 9 stitches out from the center. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you find the 9th stitch from the center, and that is where you are going to slip stitch to attach your yarn. And once you've slip stitched, you're going to chain 2. Now this counts as a double crochet. So what you're gonna wanna do is once you chain 2, we're gonna flip it around so that we're working, you wanna be working towards, let me try and make it to where you can see better. You wanna be working towards your center line. You don't wanna work away. So if you, on your other side, you might not have to flip it, but you wanna be working towards the middle. So you just chain 2, so that counts as your first double crochet. So now you have 8 left on this side. So you're gonna do 1, and once you are at your 8, you should be back to the center where you've seamed them together. Including your chain 2, there should be 9 stitches here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Make sure you have 9. You should be at the middle of your hat, or not, the middle of the side where your seam is. And now you're going to go 9 double crochets on the other side of the middle. So there's not really stitches here. What I do is I crochet between each of these stitches. So go ahead and do 9 double crochets. So that is your last 9. So you should have a total of 18. So you want to count. So you have 18, and then you're going to chain 2 and turn your work around. So now you should be looking at the inside of the hat again, and you'll be on the right side. And now our first row is done. So for the second row, it's our decrease row. So what I mean by this is the first 2 stitches, we're going to do a double crochet decrease. So what you're going to do is you're going to yarn over, insert your hook into the first stitch, yarn over, pull through. You'll have 3 loops. Yarn over, and you only pull through the first 2. Now you want to leave these 2 loops, and you're going to do the same thing. Yarn over into the second stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, only pull through the first 2. And now you should have kind of like 2 half done double crochets and then your original stitch. So you should have 3 on your hook, and then you're going to yarn over and pull through all 3. So on decrease rows, we're going to do a decrease in the beginning of the row and the end of the row. So we just did our beginning of the row decrease, and now we're going to double crochet normally, just a normal double crochet, all the way until there are 2 stitches left on the end. Okay, once you double crochet all the way across, there should just be 2 stitches left, and we're going to do the same decrease that we did in the beginning. So yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through the first 2, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through the first 2, and there should be 3 left, and you're going to yarn over and pull through all 3. So that is the end of our second row, which is a decrease row. Now you're going to chain 2, turn your work again. So we're working on the other side. Oh, I grabbed the lanyard. So we're working on the other side. And now that we are on row 3, this is a normal row. So no decreases. You're just going to double crochet all the way to the end. Make sure you're not decreasing. It's just a normal row. So now you've done 1, 2, 3 rows. The third row was a not a decrease row. The fourth row is going to be a decrease row. So what we're going to do is we're going to chain 2, turn your work. Now you're looking at the inside of your hat, and what you're going to do is you're going to do a decrease in the first 2 stitches like we learned before, and then you're going to do normal double crochet across until there are 2 stitches left. And once you are at the end of your row and there are only 2 stitches left, you're going to do a decrease stitch again. And now that you are done with round 4, we're going to do round 5. So chain 2, turn your work. And for round 5, we're just going to do a normal row. So no decreasing, just double crochet all the way across. And this is your last normal row. The rest of your rows are going to be decrease rows after this one until you get all the way down to 3 stitches. And I'll show you what I mean by that. No decreasing, just go all the way to the end like normal. So this is 5 rows. So now we're done alternating between decrease and regular. Now the rest are just decreasing until you have 3 stitches left. So when I say that, I mean chain 2. You're always going to chain 2 and turn at the end of every row. And then you're going to start it with a decreasing stitch, the first 2 stitches, like you've been doing on the other ones. And then regular double crochets and then a decrease stitch at the end. And then at the end, you're going to chain 2, turn your work, and you're just going to repeat that row we just did until you have 3 stitches left, and I'll show you what that looks like in the next clip. So you do a decrease the first 2 stitches, double crochet across, decrease the last 2, chain 2, turn your work, and just keep repeating that until it looks something like this. So you've decreased over and over and over, you've done those same decrease rows, and now you should have 3 stitches left. So 1, 2, 3. That is where you should be at. It should be something like this, really small, only 3. So now that you're here, you're going to chain 2 and turn your work again. And this is the strap part. So this is the part that covers your ear, and now we're working on the strap so you can tie it under your chin. So what we're going to do is once you've chained 2, you're going to do 3 double crochets across. Just normal double crochets in each of those 3 stitches. And then you're going to chain 2. And you're going to repeat yourself. So it's just chaining 2, 3 double crochets, chain 2, turn over and over and over until you have done this 20 total times. So we just did 1. You're going to do 19 more. And then you're going to fasten off. And your ear flap is done. And then you're just going to go back and repeat that, but on the other side to have 2 ear flaps. Okay, so after you have repeated the ear flap section of this video, you should have a hat that kind of looks like this. Bunch of little ends to weave in. So before we move on to the flower, I do suggest that you take a crochet needle and weave in all these ends just to get them out of the way. And then come back and I will show you how to make the flower that goes on the front of the hat. Okay, hi, we're back. You finished the big part of the hat and now we just need to add the little fine details. So you're going to take your raspberry colored Red Heart Super Saver yarn. So you're going to want to pull a bunch of yarn, a pretty good length, because you're going to want some length to sew it in later. For this part, for this flower, you're going to want to use your 3.5 millimeter hook that we haven't used yet. So you're going to make a magic circle. And if you don't know how to make a magic circle, there are plenty of videos. I can't really explain how to do it. This is just my method, if you can see by watching. But if you can't, definitely just search magic circle, and there's like 10-second videos to show you how to do it. So once you have your magic circle, you have something that looks like this. And what we're going to do is we're going to chain 1 to start us off. And then you're going to make 9 single crochets into the circle. So that means you're going to put your hook in the circle, you're going to yarn over, pull through, and you'll have 2 loops here. And then you will yarn over and pull through those 2 loops, and that is 1. So you're going to do 9 of those. Alright, 9 single crochets, and then you're going to want to take your end piece and just pull to tighten it. And once you have those 9 done and you've tightened your circle, you're going to put your hook into the first stitch you did, and you're going to slip stitch to attach them, and you'll have like a circle. And then I like to chain 1 and then fasten off, just because I feel like it gives it a little more structure so that it doesn't fall apart. And then you just fasten off, and that is your center of your flower. And we no longer need the pink anymore, but we are going to need white Red Heart Super Saver. With the same hook, you're going to take your white and pull out a long piece, because you want edges to help sew in the flower. You're going to make a slip knot, put your hook in, tighten it up, and what you're going to do is you're going to find any spot on these 9 single crochets. Any stitch is fine, it doesn't matter which one, and you're going to put your hook through it. And then what you're going to do is you're going to pull your white yarn through and pull your white yarn through the loop on your hook. So now you have attached your white yarn. What we're going to do is we're going to chain 3, and here's the part where you're going to make petals. So in the same stitch you attached your yarn, you're going to do 4 double crochets, all in the same stitch that you have been working in. It's going to start to get a little crowded, and these are the same double crochets that we did with our big hat, the purple yarn. So you're going to want to do 4 of them, because the first chain 3 counted as 1, so it would be like a total of 5. So you have your chain 3, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you just want to do 1 more, so 5 total. And once that's done, you want to push them to the side and expose the next stitch, and you're going to put your hook into the next stitch and slip stitch just like that. That's 1 petal. Into the next stitch that we haven't done anything to yet, you're going to do 5 double crochets all together in the same stitch. Perfect. And then you're going to push them over and expose the next stitch and slip stitch into that. You're going to repeat this over and over until you have 5 petals. So just repeat 5 double crochets, slip stitch, 5 double crochets, slip stitch until you have 5 petals, and you should end with a slip stitch. Okay, now you have done your 5th petal, and you're going to do the last stitch, and you're just going to slip stitch through just like that, and then you're going to chain 1 to kind of just secure it all, and then cut your yarn and fasten off. You're going to take your hat and you're going to lay it flat, and then on the top right corner, you're going to look at your top right corner, and you're going to count down 6 rows. So a row is a row of these double crochets. So you're going to count down 6 rows and over 5 stitches, and that is where you'll put your flower. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you're going to count these individual stitches 5 stitches over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So on this stitch that is where you want the center of your flower to go. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your crochet needle and take the end of this white yarn that's attached to your flower, and you're just going to weave it in and out of each of these stitches until you secure it pretty tight. That's how I do it. You can do it however you want. I know a lot of people sew on stuff differently, so just that's how I do it. I just go in these stitches, weaving in and out, in and out. There's not really like an exact way. And then once you're done, cut off the excess, and that is your hat. This is what it looks like when you sew the flower all the way on. It should be on pretty good, so if you were to try and pull it off, it doesn't lift or anything. This is what your hat looks like completed. So if you made it this far, you should have your Nanami cat hood completed and done. Congratulations. If there's any part of this video that was confusing or you need a little bit more of an explanation on, just leave a comment below and I will try to explain it to the best of my ability. Once again, if you are making these, do not sell them. I already sell them. If you're looking for a already made one, they're on my Etsy shop link below. Thanks for watching.